Well, yet another episode of Daredevil came along, and guess who wasn't in it? Daredevil. I mean, sure, Matt Murdock's in it, and, but he doesn't ever become Daredevil. He uses his Daredevil abilities, his ability to hear conversations, stuff like that. Kingpin was there, but mostly there to dance at his party. Well, all right, he did have a scene with Vanessa and her boyfriend. They resolved that, so that's something, But, and they're continuing with the mirror between Kingpin and Daredevil and all of that. So there's a bit of the aftermath of the last episode with Matt and his new girlfriend and so on and so forth. So they do that. But, after finally giving you some Daredevil action in an episode that had quite a few problems to it, but at least there was that, and he's fighting another guy who also wears an outfit and all that. So, okay, you finally got something of the comic book superhero elements in the show. So for the next episode, hey, let's slow this down. After several episodes that slowed the whole show down for its development, and finally it says, hey, maybe we should get back to what started the show. So I'm wondering if this is more of what was added later, because we know now the first episode was completely brand new, tacked on to what they had shot originally. I seem to, in fact, I think in the original, Foggy, what happened to him happened off camera, but they said, no, that's not going to work. So they shoot an episode where, he's in the episode and all that. And then you come to this episode where they, oh, wait, let's readdress that. And then, there's a big reveal in it. And, some of these elements that are in this episode would have been fine. I mean, most of it would be. Had the other episodes developed this narrative overall, but it really didn't. A lot of it was very slow, padded with, Murdock and Fisk not knowing exactly where they're going, wanting to be something new and all this sort of thing. And then showing how it unravels, where the attempt to be something new is really true on Murdock's part. With Fisk, it just isn't, even though to some extent you could say he was lying to himself as well. But all the while he was, if you've seen the show, I'm not going to spoil things overall. And so this sort of episode would have been fine had there been, episodes to accompany it. The bank heist episode is fine, but there again, it's just sort of plopped in the midst of this when the rest was a bunch of padding and filler, dancing around something that goes nowhere. Of course, you get a legal drama. Well, I expect that, but you needed to up the ante in there, and there was opportunity for it. But ultimately, you need some Daredevil stuff going on here. And I mean, the idea is that at the outset, he's retired from it. He's wanting to deny it. So I just don't think that was a good enough choice. In a lot of ways, you could have shaved a lot of this off and you still, get the desired goal there. But there just wasn't, I don't think there's a lot of patience for something like this, especially but it's just not really working. And it's unfortunate. The performances are really good. These people are performing their characters very well. But it's not enough to carry the day. So, yes, there's this big reveal concerning what happened in the first episode and why, and so on and so forth. But even that is not constructed well. It's, why, order this guy's death now? Wouldn't that have been something you did immediately? And why even do it at all, considering the reveal that unless he figured it out and realized this is what happened. Because I didn't get that, unless that's what the Kingpin and his wife's reunion and all this sort of stuff. I didn't. So, it just, well, it works out. Murdoch comes in to visit him, and that leads to this and that. And I'm dancing around what happened in it. If you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. So, it doesn't play out all that great, as to why you suddenly make this move or that one, and then even with the reveal, it's not what you thought, and that sort of thing. But it still doesn't quite work. And then there's elements in it that, maybe they're developing this into something, and maybe they mean that for the second season or stuff like that. But there's yet another vigilante who's already been seen, and if you saw the Hawkeye series, you know what he's about and all that. Will this go somewhere? Or is it just, hey, look, it's the guy from that other Marvel show? It's similar to Kamala Khan's dad is in the bank heist episode. And all that, but ultimately and I didn't really have a problem with him being there and all that sort of stuff. It was a bit way on the nose with the product placement bobblehead and of Kamala Khan or Miss Marvel, and that sort of thing. Overall, the episode was fine. It's just there's not enough Daredevil in Daredevil. And right off the bat, I knew good and well they were not going to do anything akin to the actual Born Again story, which is far superior to this one. Their mirror thing of them both trying to become new men can work in that's the goal, wanting to be born again, but ultimately they're going to be born again as who they originally were, and that's the outcome for this. So there's patience and stuff. I think 3 episodes they might have gotten away with it okay, as you kept raising the ante and whatnot. If it was just a full-on Daredevil show where he's doing Daredevil all the time, they'd be perfectly. But they wanted this plot where he's got to make a comeback some kind of way. Maybe that. But just like some things like a bank heist thing would be fine when it's just more this episodic stuff. And then you move on to the serial killer and he deals with that. That's okay, but it just comes across as very scattered. And when you get back to Kingpin and all that, it's not very cohesive. And even though it's comic book based and whatnot, elements in it where his girlfriend just happens to be the therapist for Kingpin and his wife. It's like, it's New York City. My God. And you needed to develop where there's more of a connection to where these certain circumstances would play out. And you think, oh, well, yeah, it's still some wild odds, but, and then the serial killer, he's, small town, sure, but not New York City, So, after a while, it's too much stuff to just, if I just sort of forgive this and ignore that, there's so much good to enjoy. That's not really the case. And I hate saying it because, great cast with Matt Murdock and Vincent D'Onofrio. And the guy playing Bullseye is really good in the role. It'd be nice if he could be outfitted as Bullseye. But even if they did, there's too much stumbling around here, which I can only assume is due to the original approach that they were pursuing was so bad, and it left them in the spot that they're in. So it's a shame. But then again, overall, nobody showed up to watch the show at all anyway, which is a whole other problem with the overall brand of Marvel. And, of course, Disney as well. Yeah.